Hello everyone. I'm going to share my experience in the Boston Athenaeum. Boston Athenaeum is close to our campus as it is located near the Boston Commons and the State Hall. It was very surprising to know that the Boston Athenaeum is one of the oldest libraries in America, as it was established in 1807. This is the statue of Minerva. It was very tall and big that I found out later it was about 7 feet tall and made out of the bronze. The statue represents the goddess of wisdom. It was very also influential in the space that uh, I was able to see this statue right after I entered the first section of the library, the ballroom. It was also interesting to see that the background of the statue is the Granary Burying Ground, the Boston's most famous graveyard. To me, the statue was really beautiful, but also could feel that the power and the strength. Next, after the statue of Minerva, it is the another section of the library that shows the history of Boston. It was mainly the photo collections with some videos inside, and there are lots of photos in the room that shows different parts of Boston, different lifestyles of people in Boston, and some key moments happen in there. And this picture, I like this picture because it shows how Boston Common serves in terms of people and the city, that the Boston Common is a place of public, family, and gathering. It is interesting to see this kind of legacy still remains nowadays. I also like this picture as well because it shows the cultural diversity of Boston, as it shows the Italian neighborhoods, the North End. I like how they put these pictures of North End, as I believe is the one of the core parts of Boston. After the photo collections, we went to another section of library. This room is called Long Room, and inside there are lots of paintings and sculptures. This statue is called Ceres. It is the Roman goddess of harvest. To me, it was really, really beautiful. And also having the large graveyard as a background of the statue makes it really appealing. Here are some more pictures of sculptures and the places that I really liked. Overall, I really enjoyed the tour in the Boston Athenaeum. That I didn't know that we have this beautiful place near the Boston Commons. The place and the artworks are very elegant and beautiful. That lots of paintings and sculptures preserved very well. It almost felt like that I was in museum in Europe. I also like how Athenaeum has one section of Boston itself with lots of photos and videos. I was able to see the history of Boston in most vivid ways through pictures. In that way, I believe I got to know about the city of Boston more deeply. Also, unlike other libraries, the Boston Athenaeum was more artistic, as there are lots of paintings and statues. Also, the spaces are decorated really well, that it was very calm. One interesting point was that having the background of the Granary Brewing Ground was very unique because I felt that there was a direct contrast between these two places. That in the library, it is beautiful and it appreciates the living ones, whereas the outside background is the graveyards that grieve the dead ones. And this was very unique.
Mind your step. Feel free to come on this space on the right.
Entering the crypt at King's Chapel.
Just ask no flash, but I don't feel
videos
like the
are
light's
fine.
really gonna
Yeah,
damage
that's
anything
fine.
in here. So
I'm already taking
feel
it.
free to record as much as you like. And I'll ask you all to orient
I'm taking a
yourself
video.
right here while I talk to you about the crypt. Tombs in total hold about 300 plus people, I believe. And contrary to the Puritans, are pretty, I would say, kind of household names here in the city of Boston. So Thomas Bulfinch II was a very renowned physician during his lifetime. He was actually the one who assisted, tooth number 6, where we have a memorial plaque. So this was a plaque for the Lloyd family. It is pretty characteristic of the sorts of memorial plaques that would have been in place at the time. Perhaps they would have been made of wood. This one is stone, I believe. Is fancy, and you know, it's pretty simplistic. It just has the last name and a period, and this does stand in a fair amount of contrast to a different plaque that I can show you. I have, not to scale, a replica coffin for you, just so you can get a sense of the sorts of arrangements that brick wall that I'm shining the light at. So this is known as the stranger's tomb, and so contrary to the 20 tombs that are attributed to specific. We're going to stop in front of this tomb right here, where, like I said, there's a slightly different memorial plaque for you. So this was for a man named Joseph Barrel, and I'll read you the inscription very quickly. It says, "Death is the good man's friend, and the day of his death is better than the day of his birth. Was death denied, even fools would wish to die. The hope of future life softens our cares and heightens every bliss. Then rest in peace, for we shall live again." They just converted a box pew into an entrance.
Wow.
So now we have these two different ways to
Okay, so this is Omesh, and I'm gonna talk about my experience for how the King's Chapel crypt went. And I'll say that walking into the crypt beneath King's Chapel, the first thing that hits you is the air. It's like heavy. It still hasn't moved in centuries because it's like all packed and everything is blocked there. The ceilings are low, the walls are stone, and you immediately feel the weight of everything like above you. And I kind of feel like I hope that they didn't block all the funerals and all the graveyards by like with brick walls. What struck me the most was like how ordinary that felt in there. Like there weren't any dramatic tombs or like any grand monuments. They were all like small, modest, brutal spaces where real people who lived in colonial Boston, like governors, ministers, everyday families, and they're just there, like beneath a church people still use today, which is like so crazy to me. The only factor was like how much money they had, and it was like played a very big role in like who was buried there. And there's something quietly unsettling about that. The idea that the living and the dead have been sharing this space for over 300 years and nobody really thinks twice about it. The crypt doesn't try to be eerie. It just is like, and that's almost more disturbing than anything theoretical could be. And standing down there, I kept thinking about how the occult isn't always about rituals or like hidden knowledge. Sometimes it's just the veil being thin, the boundary between worlds becoming something you can almost reach out and touch. And yeah, that's how the crypt felt like one of those places to me.
On Friday, we went to the Old North Church in the North End. Address was 193 Salem Street, and right next to the church was a gift shop where we got the tickets. The inside was mostly similar to the King's Chapel. They still had the tower where the pastor would give their sermons or speeches, and then you would also have the white boxes where people sat to pray. Apparently Queen Elizabeth went to this church to pray in, I think, 1972, and that's where they would pray. Yeah, there was a bunch of flags as well, like other flags such as the British flag, the All-American flag. There was also like a piano. And then in the crypt, there was actually a bunch of kind of bodies or ashes there with people's birth dates and date of death. And it was also pretty small, so you had to watch your head for like pipes and stuff. And that was the I guess, tomb's cover. You can see it was very big. And they also had a cursed box in their tomb, which supposedly had a curse for anyone who stepped inside. And here's Jay at somebody's grave. You can see their birthday is there and their date of death. And that's me trying to peer into the tomb. And that's Omesh listening to see if there's any ghosts in the tomb. And that's all three of us at the cursed box. From my experience, I thought it was pretty interesting to see that people were actually buried underneath the place where there would be a place of worship. I guess they made it that way to make sure the spirits made it into heaven or something like that. Yeah, that's pretty much my experience.